Thank you for joining me today. We are going to be looking at the account of the angel bringing Peter out of the prison today. Our hymn is Who at My Door is Standing.
Who at the door is standing, patiently drawing near, entrance within demanding, whose is the voice I hear? Sweetly the tones are falling, open the door for me. If thou wilt heed my calling, I will abide with thee.
All right, our passage today is in Acts chapter 12. In Acts chapter 12, it's the account where first we have James, the brother of John, being killed. About that time, Herod the king stretched out his hand to harass some from the church. He killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. Because he saw it please the Jews, he also seizes Peter and arrests Peter, puts him in prison, and Peter's kept in prison, but constant prayer is offered to God by the church. Of course, they're in verse 6. When Herod was about to bring him out that night, Peter was sleeping. I wonder if he wasn't going to bring him out for a public execution. That night, Peter was sleeping, bound with two chains between two soldiers, and the guards of the door were keeping the prison. An angel of the Lord stood by him, and a light shone in the prison, and he struck Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, "Arise quickly," and his chains fell off his hands. Then the angel said to him, "Gird yourself and tie on your sandals," and so he did. And he said to him, put on your garment, and follow me." So he went out and followed him, did not know that what was done by the angel was real, but thought he was seeing a vision. When they were past the first and second guard posts, they came to the iron gate that leads to the city, which opened to them of its own accord. And they went out and went down one street, and immediately the angel departed from him. And then Peter says, "Now I know the Lord has sent his angel and has delivered me from the hand of Herod and from all the expectation of the Jewish people." He comes to where they had been praying, to the house of Mary, the mother of John Mark, and a girl named Rhoda answers the door, or came to the answer, it says in verse 13. And when she recognized Peter's voice because of her gladness, she did not open the gate, but ran in and announced that Peter stood before the gate. But they said to her, "You're beside himself." Yet they kept insisting that it was so, and so they said, "Oh, it's his angel." Peter continued knocking, and when they opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. But motioning to them with his hand to keep silent, he declared to them how the Lord had brought him out of the prison. And he said, "Go tell these things to James and to the brethren." And he departed and went to another place. Okay, I was just thinking about the doors today. And obviously, the point of the hymn is opening the door for the Lord. But I was just thinking about these doors, because here Peter is, and he's in prison, and the angel brings him out. And we think about the power of the Lord. We might also think about why the Lord does what he does. Sometimes it troubles us, because the Lord did not deliver James from prison, but he does deliver Peter. You might think about different kinds of sacrifices. Might think about that idea. But anyway, but as they come out and the doors open by the power of God, how are you going to stop the power of God? Herod had locked up Peter as tightly as he could, and he thought he had him. You're not gonna lock. You're not. When it's time for the doors to open, it's time for the doors to open. This is like in the Old Testament when the Lord shut the door behind Noah. When the Lord shut the door, you're not going to open it. You might think about the parable of the virgins, when the five foolish came and were beating on the door. No, when it's locked, it's locked. When it's open, it's open. When it's locked, it's locked. Here, it's opened. And we think about the power of God. So he comes to the house, And there he is. And Rhoda leaves him at the door because she's so excited for the joy, as it speaks about. Because of her gladness, she did not open the gate. And she comes and she tells the people, and they say, "You're beside yourself. It's his angel." So what were they thinking? They thought he was a dead man too. It's like they had been praying. It's like, this is the answer to your prayer. You know, while you were praying, he was already on his way. They needed to have faith, didn't they? And there Peter is, and he's having to repeatedly knock at the door. And, you know, as we come to the Father through the Son, we need to have faith. I understand the answer may not be what we would wish. If we're asking for a thorn in the flesh to be removed, the answer may be, "My grace is sufficient for thee." The Lord knows what's best for us. Have faith and know that the Lord answers prayers. Here, they're praying. The prayer is answered. And they tell Rhoda, "You're just crazy. You're just an excited girl." Have faith. Back to the account. Did you notice that Peter departs and goes to another place? And I remember hearing it suggested one time, and I think it's a good suggestion, that was done to protect them. When, as soon as it was day, no small stir among the soldiers about what had become of Peter. When Herod had searched for him and not found him, he examined the guards and commanded that they should be put to death. He went down from Judea to Caesarea and stayed there. Let's back up. Herod is harassing some from the church. He knows about the church. And so he may have known where Peter would likely go. And so when Peter comes and tells them, or Peter shows himself and then says, "Go tell these things to James and the brethren," he departs. He goes out another door. And I think it probably was to protect them in case in case Herod came looking for him there. So we might think about protecting others, protecting our brethren, doing what we can to keep them safe. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise.